Excited to join today's conversation on SMART goals. I'm Coach Brian Piranha. I've been a coach, health coach, nutrition, and fitness coach for the last 20 years. I've been a personal trainer for many years. I've owned 2 gyms for about 5, and I've been doing remote nutrition health coaching the last 10. I've had a lot of experience working with everyday people, helping them understand how to live a healthier lifestyle that not only impacts their health, their body weight, their digestion, and even performance. And that's what brings us to our call today, is working on goals, making sure that we are setting you up in the right way to be wildly successful here in this new year, in January. And going into February, because it is the tail end of January. And I hope that you are still doing your goals for the new year, working on your health. The chat box is open. The comments are below. Please engage. I always love it when people engage. It makes for a really enjoyable experience. Let's dive in. Creating SMART goals. What is the acronym SMART? What does it mean? How do you actually set achievable goals that you can then take action on, implement, and really make progress? I can't tell you how much impact setting goals can have, having solid deadlines, and most importantly, having some support and accountability to follow through on those. 2025 can be a radical year in your health and making progress there. The contents and agenda today: goal setting overview. We're going to go over what those SMART goals are, S-M-A-R-T. Common mistakes. What are some of the challenges that most people have when it comes to these SMART goals? Lastly, key goal setting tips. How do we set the goals in place and make sure that they are manageable for you? Goal setting overview. Well, number one is, what's a goal? Well, we have our plan of action now, and then we have our motivation to move forward. We have our desired outcome and an object of ambition or effort. So what's important here is we need to establish what a future plan is in the first place. What it is that you do want to learn and go about in this process. From there, we need to find that motivation of how to actually implement and be successful along the way. And make sure they have that continued drive. What are the values of actually setting your goals? Well, there's a purpose, most importantly. You set intentions and you set a process forward to underlying why and the reason behind what it is that you actually want to go reach in the first place. And now the accountability piece. So accountability, next up what we have is making sure that what you do is broken down into bite-sized abilities and actions to help you be able to get this process started here and keep it going. From there, we've got motivation. What keeps you motivated to taking action and implementing on so that you get the outcome that you want for yourself? You get the underlying drive to push through. And lastly, the focus. What is this, that finite piece of action that needs for you to do, and be able to just have a laser guided focus, a focal point of, this is the exact next step thing that I can do. When we wrap this all into an easy sentence, is going to be that when I set a goal, the goal is allowing me to create a lifestyle, a look, a feel, habits, routines, behaviors that get me to the goal destination that I'm after. And I do everything that I need to be able to get there. 60% of people set New Year's resolutions. 80% of New Year's resolutions never get achieved. And 30% of people drop resolutions within 2 weeks. This is impactful. When you understand that basically only 20% of anyone actually starts to move forward and accomplish anything, it's disheartening. Why does this happen? Well, life is about a whirlwind. It catches you up in the chase of the rat race of what's happening now, and how are you to not get distracted. The amount of distractions that show up on a day-to-day basis is tremendous. There's constant marketing, advertisements, people in your house want your attention. I'm 40, I have 42, I have 4 kids. There's so much demand of my time and energy that it's hard to stay focused on some goals that I have, even if it's something really simple. Say hitting my 10,000 steps in a day is an action-oriented health movement goal. If I plan to walk at some point in the day and that got taken up by this activity, and then I plan to walk later in the day and my kids' activities took my attention, then it kind of unravels here. It gets very challenging in a sense. So let's chat. Do you set personal goals or professional goals? And if so, how do they make you feel? I'll share my goal. 2025 is the year of the personal brand. I'm taking a very strong approach, getting support, direction, accountability, coaching to make definitive action to create some massive impact and value in how I deliver my service. I'm a coach. I help people improve their lifestyles through nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and behavior changes. What does that mean? That's what I want to be able to easily convey, is that I help you live a healthier lifestyle and get out of your own way by keeping you held accountable and supported on taking next step actions that get us to whatever goal it is. If it's losing weight, if it's improving your digestion, if it's running a marathon, we can break it down and make sure that you're doing the day-to-day action steps that allow you to make progress happen. Someone says here, they just hit me up in the chat, one of their personal goals is to run their first 5K. They actually already have it set for June, which kudos. Nobody really wants to run a 5K in January or February. It's a bit breezy out, a little chilly. But by June, you most definitely, that is 5 months for you to take action and slowly build. They even have a plan. They're going to use the Couch to 5K app. That is excellent. A very easy to start approach that allows you to be able to take action and ultimately implement into your overall long-term health goals. We have another person. They're looking forward to really kind of climbing the career ladder. They've already made 2 or 3 jumps, and they're looking for another one, which is awesome and exciting because that really creates fulfillment for them in their actual profession. They have some training classes that they're able to do inside their company. There's a lot of structure on how to build and support to grow future leaders. That's really awesome. So obviously right there are 2 different perspectives from personal and professional, where the person has some support, their guidance, there's direction in the path of which we need to take some action on. All right, our wellness wheel. So if you're listening in to the audio here, we have a wellness wheel. It's like the bullseye of a target. And on the wheel, it goes around, it looks like a pirate ship wheel in a sense. And there are 8 different words that surround all the way around. And how do we make sure that we're well as a physical person and human being? Well, we have our physical bodies. We have our emotional state. We have our finances, what's in your bank and what is your financial plan. With the emotion, What is your mental emotional state? How are you able to handle the impact of the, what I would call inputs, the social inputs, the energy that's coming your way from people or things, or we had a change in government. How are you managing that emotionally? We have social people around you, your social circle, your sphere of influence of family and friends. And that is going to be part of this process as well, as making sure we identify a bunch of social aspects that build you up. Occupational. Do you do something you enjoy? Is work actually work? For me, it's not. I really enjoy what I do. I could do this every day, whether I got paid or not. I do need to get paid because that's how I feed my family. But occupationally, if you're doing something you don't enjoy, it's going to weigh on your wellness, your physical being as a person. What is your purpose? Well, for me, my purpose is to help and serve other people through a variety of different ways of obviously being a health coach, but being a parent, being a husband, being a friend. Those are some capacities in which I deliver on working with people. And for you, if the stronger your purpose is, the stronger your underlying why is as well. Intellectual. What's up in your brain? How smart you are? How you manage your IQ or your emotional IQ or your ability to think through situations that happen to you. And lastly is environmental. In your physical location, what's happening around you with your house, your home, your work environment, the actual environment around you. Could even be the landscape of what creates your underlying narrative as a person of all these different things, these social networks, these financial capacities of income and expense. These all could be environmental or even just literally the environment itself, making sure it's healthy and good. Now, a lot of the wellness wheel can trend toward, a lot of people will trend toward occupational, and they'll pull away from physical. They'll spend some time focusing on what's happening in their environment, but they might not have a lot of purpose, or their social abilities are not so good. Understanding who you are as a person to help create smart goals is really important. Let's break it down. S is specific. M is measurable. A is attainable. R is relevant. T is timely. So how am I specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely in my goals to create this? Now, SMART system of goal setting drives you toward success. It helps you create goals that are achievable. It defines the metrics of success that you have for yourself, what you should be doing in the next steps. And that's what I mean by that is the roadmap is laid out in front of you to create that achievement. Oftentimes, if you do this right, it's just one checkbox after another, one step after another. If you have a clear outlined goal, and we just work back on how to create that of where you're at in your physical situation. So for my goal, I have a program, I have a process, I have my momentum method that helps people create that momentum toward a better life, a better health, better nutrition, better fitness, but also managing their time and their stress so that they can be their best selves ultimately. But I have to work back. Okay, what are some of the challenges and the problems that I have to help people overcome? Clay is a pilot. He has to overcome the in-flight treats and beverages that he had become a challenge to. Brett has shoulder surgery. That's making an impact on his physical capacity to move. Oh, what else? Sarah moves too much, and it oftentimes she'll defer to moving and exercising so much so that she doesn't do other things, and she procrastinates in other areas. When we start to understand the person as a whole, and we have these systems, and you have someone a process that helps guide you, then you can break it down and be ultimately successful. So what is specific? Well, clear, specific, and as detailed as possible. The more the detail, the better the opportunity to create lasting success. This helps focus on your efforts of what actually truly matters. Things to consider here and questions are, what do I want to accomplish? Why is it important? That important should be in all capital letters, because if it's not important, you're not going to spend a lot of time doing it. Where is it located? Well, when it all takes place, we want to check out and make sure that we're paying attention to these areas of how do we operate, and is it actual physical location or actual mental emotional space. When we talk about measurable, we're talking about unambiguous criteria to determine progress. Track progress and evaluate regularly. We're constantly looking at these measurable things. When I get into the coaching program, and even now I'm already doing, I'm tracking specific measurements of how many conversations I'm having, what are some of the day-to-day objectives I need to accomplish to move my sphere of influence forward and grow that sphere of influence in a positive way that attracts the right person that I'm very capable and able to help. When we do this, number one is you got to define what can I measure. Well, for me, the very simplest measurement is weight, right? Step on the scale. Is it going down? Chances are we're heading in the right direction. If it's not, then we need to make sure we're looking at another approach. How will I know I made progress in the first place? Well, if you have tangible measurements, and then you can reflect back on what happened as in the output. So inputs and outputs is something I talk about a lot. Inputs are the things that you have direct control over, and the output is what you're aiming towards. Think of, again, body weight. Body weight is something we cannot predict if you're trying to lose weight, but we can predict and be very intentional about how many steps we take, how much water you drink, what is your food composition on your plate and across your day. How will I know when it's accomplished? Well, when your clothes fall off you because they're too big, then for trying to lose weight, we definitely have arrived. Or when you can be happy to show up in a picture, you'll be very proud. Attainable, realistic, achievable, yet slightly out of your comfort zone. We want things to push you, to drive the future, and ultimately level of success that you can create for yourself is a determiner of how uncomfortable you can be in your present state. Look at past attempts to inform your future goals. Every opportunity that you have in life is exactly that. An opportunity to look forward and make better choices, better influence, better capacity to be able to really shine. That's so important as we look back at what we may have considered failures, but they're actually just stepping stones that we can look back on. Oftentimes, in day-to-day life, if we look back, we can see a natural progression of how things may have happened if there was intention in it. I can look back at my whole career and it continues to unfold in a way that, it's very logical now that I am in the situation that I am. So questions to consider here. How can I accomplish this goal? What is required of my time, my money, my energy for me to achieve that goal? When we understand this, then we set realistic expectations, realistic timelines, and make sure that we're breaking it down in a manner that is reasonable. If the goal is, say someone wants to lose 50 pounds, that is going to take, at the very least, a pound a week. That's 50 weeks. That's basically a year. And in your brain, you're like, okay, it's going to take me anywhere from half a year to a year of effort, 2 pounds a week. For 50s, 25 weeks. So yeah, basically anywhere from half a year to a year of time to break down and lose 50 pounds. That's a reasonable timeline for a human being to lose weight amongst the day-to-day. And if you're thinking, why am I not losing 4 pounds a week? Because that's not how it works. So many people aim for that and they end up losing weight but gaining more back because they did it in such an aggressive way that it doesn't serve them. So ask the right questions, have the right timeline, and make sure that it's relevant, aligned with your needs, abilities, values, and interests. If it's not relevant to you, again, you're going to be pulling at straws at some point when it's an early morning and you have to do this and be challenged at what's to come of your needs, your abilities, and why's I'm doing this. You're not going to wake up early to go walk if that's what you need to do to get this to happen. Does it seem worth it? Questions to consider. Is it the right time? So many people I talk to, they want to think about it. Well, what have you been doing the last 4 years when your body weight has been out of control and been higher than you've ever wanted it to? Does it match my other efforts, goals, needs, and am I the right person to reach the goals, right? You might need to reallocate some of your goals, ideas to be able to make sure the efforts and the intensity are able to impact what your goals are. For me, the year of the personal brand, I am locked in. I'm driven. I'm already taking significant amount of action. I just want to know what's the next best step for me to go forward and create that sphere of influence. Timely. Target dates of completion or short, long-term goals. If someone needs to lose 50 pounds, we're looking for 5, 10-pound chunks, or maybe 15, and 20. Or maybe we lose the first 30 and then we look at the next 20. Whatever the timeline is. If you're trying to run a marathon, we're not going to do a long run of 20 plus miles. We're going to start working from 10 to 12 to 15 to 17 and then to 20 to be capable physically, mentally, and endurance-wise to push to a marathon. Then this all supports your motivation, your focus on the outcome that's at hand. So questions that you consider here: when will I accomplish the goal? We break it down and make sure that we can timely set appropriate timelines. When will I check on my progress? How frequently do I need the check-ins? In my business, I check in on people weekly, and there's even opportunity to check in daily through text to allow them to get their questions asked and answered, have a clear process that they can follow through on, and make changes. What are some common mistakes? This is a real thing, poor or good. Well, if it's not a specific goal, it's too vague. I want to get better at running and run more. Well, hey, you just ran around the block, and I can now think I can run 2 laps around the block, right? That's not that good. Or when someone says, I want more money, you hand them a penny, that's not it. More specifically, I will increase my running stamina by running inside and outside on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Very specific. Not tracking or measurable. Well, I'm unclear of what success looks like. Faster mile time, how much running have you even done? Whereas measurable, I'll run 1 mile each workout in the week, and I'll increase by a quarter mile. Making it attainable, not unrealistic. I will run a half marathon in 4 weeks. Yeah, that might not work, especially if you haven't ran. But making it attainable, in the past, I've successfully ran a mile without stopping. Right? We're just going to keep, 1 mile can turn into 2, can turn into 3. Relevant, increase. Is it significant enough or insignificant? I do not enjoy running, but others say it's a good way to burn calories. And running isn't going to last too long for you there. But if it's relevant, running helps me increase energy, decrease stress, get better sleep. I could get behind that. And lastly, it's timely. In 9 weeks, I'll be able to run a 5K. No deadlines. I just want to run better, right? That's a weak goal. So the example was, I want to run more. Great. Go run around a block. You just ran more than you did all week. SMART goal, in 9 weeks, I will improve my running stamina, overall health, and energy levels by running on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I will run 1 mile each day in week 1 and increase my daily distance by a quarter mile each week until I reach 5K. Incredibly specific. This gives you the tunnel vision to get anything that happens out of the way, put a lot of energy and focus into this objective, and allow you to continue tweak and adjust what your goals are and what you're going to aim to shift your goals from one time to the next. So we keep expanding your focus and your range of attempts. Fearing failure so many times, people think, oh, I'm going to trip and fall and I'm not going to get up. Well, we trip, we fall, we get up, and we start running again anyways. Yeah, it's an opportunity to create reflection, an opportunity to create data, opportunity to have a conversation around what is going to better serve me in the future. And we're going to be able to appreciate the process and gather any insights for growth. If you set too many goals, then you end up getting overwhelmed and you actually don't make any progress. So what prevents you from achieving goals? Chances are, and here comes some messages, getting overwhelmed, not clear what the next step is. They'll get 3-4 weeks in, but then something happens in life and it distracts them. Yeah, those are all pretty typical things. So wrapping up here, how do we actually set goals that work for you? Well, they are supposed to work for you, not for anyone else. You need to consider what the return of investment. If you're going to run a marathon, what's the return on investment of you putting the time, effort, energy, and money into running a marathon in a couple months? And constantly have to reformulate, why am I doing this? So we reverse engineers our goals from yearly goals to quarterly to monthly to weekly to daily. And this is that reverse engineering process. In 1 year, I want to be down 50 pounds and be in the best, healthiest body that I have ever been in the last 20 years. We have to break it down to the daily goals of drinking water, getting our steps in, doing strength training a couple times a week, eating vegetables. If we write them down, then it's more tangible. So you absolutely have to write things down. You'll be that much more likely to be successful. And we want to use both sides of the brain. The right hemisphere is more imagination, so you can really dream about crossing the finish line, so to speak, of the marathon or losing the weight. The left side is the left hemisphere is logic and reality. And so when we can blend these two of imagination and logic, things go well. Daily or weekly check-ins help keep you accountable, reminders, accountability calls with a coach or someone that's important, and keep looking back at your reverse engineered timeline. So for you, what form of accountability works for you? I spend my day-to-day working with people that identify with having a coach, having support, direct communication, to have someone guide them through the process. And that's how I've made a living the last 20 years in the health fitness industry. But for everyone, it's different. And lastly, if we create a vision board, then we have something that we can visually see all the time and that creates inspiration for what you're trying to accomplish. And when we call support, we get people around us involved. We can communicate what our needs are and help stay accountable. We're able to then predict potential barriers of time, people, distractions, and even judgment that might slow you down. Allow for flexibility. Plan to revisit your goals. No goals are written in permanent marker. Okay, we can tweak them, we can adjust them, and we have to have some grace and compassion because you're human and life is your living life. So you have to moderate that. And ultimately, we have to celebrate success. Of course, at the end, crossing the line, but along the way, what are the wins? One of the things I do with my clients is have conversations with them every single week. Let's celebrate what went well. It's super important to make sure that we get into this very opportunistic mindset for success. So concluding today on goals, our goals are to help provide direction, purpose, focus, and accountability. We create goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely, the SMART goals that helps make sure that you actually get them done. And we tweak and adjust our goals as we go. I want to thank you for your time today and I hope that this was really valuable for you. And please certainly leave some comments or you can an email as well. And I want to thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.